Let's cook. Hi guys, my name is Kasha. Welcome to my channel. I'm relatively new here, so bear with me. Today I'm going to be making a recipe which I haven't done before, but I've followed a lot of recipes from the same person, who I'll link down below. And I really wanted to try this out. I feel like it's probably a guaranteed success because it's quite simple. In the simplest recipes, sometimes you just, when you know, right? But I think it was worth sharing because I have a sweet tooth. It is a chocolate spread, a vegan chocolate spread, and I think that it's something nice you can have homemade in your fridge. I'm going to be planning to share quite a few kind of recipes. Which some of them maybe I'll make up a little bit. Obviously all recipes are based on an existing one. Some of them might be like direct references to existing recipes, which then I'll refer to you, so you can take a look yourself, and also I give credit to the original people who put it out there. So yeah, and the type of food I like is I try to be healthy. I just saw something move, hence my distraction. And but I am by no means perfect. It's not all vegan. I'm not a vegan necessarily. I do like to eat a lot of vegetables and try to be more vegetable based, but I'm not going to pretend that's purely how I am. I am originally South African Polish, so both of these countries I would say have a heavy meat kind of association. That's not necessarily me, but it certainly means that the more traditional dishes from there have kind of meat dishes which I would love to show and share on this channel. Something to keep in mind. You'll see some vegan, you'll see some non-vegan, you're going to see some kind of different kind of food. Also my husband's Italian, so I love making Italian food. His mom was always teaching me something new. So I definitely want to share that as well, because it's always great to have a good knowledge of Italian food, because you can't go wrong with that. And yeah, let's see how this goes. So I'm ready to go with my trusty apron. I'm almost always wearing my apron, actually always when I'm cooking. I always find it crazy when people don't use an apron, but it might just be me, maybe I'm just messy. But yeah, so I always like to be well protected. I'm going to explain to you now what ingredients you need as well as the equipment. And just to mention, this recipe I'm following is from Pick Up Limes. I love the recipes that this lady does. She has a YouTube channel as well as a website. Both of them are amazing. She tends to do very healthy recipes, and they are vegan. So, I mean, I think anyone can eat a vegan meal, but they're delicious. Again, I'm not vegan, but I do love the recipes. And when I cook them, to be honest, people actually can't tell it. I don't usually even say that they're vegan. I just cook it, people love it, and then it's just funny because I don't even realize. So, what ingredients do we have? So we will need 1.5 cups of raw hazelnuts, which is about the equivalent of 200 grams. So if you're buying a packet, then that's easy to kind of measure. Then we'll need 1/3 of a cup of milk. On her ingredients list, it is soy milk. I didn't have soy milk, so I'm using regular milk. I'm sure that'll be fine. Then you'll need 1/3 of a cup of cacao powder, and then we'll need some, what she had was maple syrup. I only have rice syrup, which is something actually I've never bought before, but here in Switzerland I decided to give it a try, partly because I'm trying to pretend to myself I was being healthy. I was making some pancakes. It is a bit, I think, less sweet. Maybe it's my imagination, I don't know, so let's see how it works, but I think it'll be fine. And we'll need, I think it's 2 tablespoons of that. Yeah, so we'll need 2 tablespoons of maple syrup or another type of syrup that you have. We'll need 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt, and then 6 dates with the pips removed. I'll show you how to do that. And then we'll also need some coconut oil, which will be 1 tablespoon. So that's, I think, it. Then in terms of equipment, we will need a tray, a baking tray, and then a food processor. on her kind of ingredients, it does recommend not using a, what's it called, a mixer, what is it called, a blender, because I think that the ingredients are too dry, and you're going to need quite a few minutes of processing with this, so to keep in mind. And yeah, and then I actually brought myself a little knife. I was just watching what is the best way to put dates, because in the UK I was always buying already pitted dates. Then I bought some here and I realized none of them are pitted. Probably in another shop maybe they are, but the one that's local to us, they're not. So I have to put them myself. Don't love it, survivable, whatever. Doesn't matter. So yeah, let's get started. Alright, so let us begin cooking. We're going to start with the raw hazelnuts. So we're going to put 1.5 cups onto the tray. I'm going to spread them out nice and evenly. Then they should go in for about 10 to 12 minutes. Keep in mind they'll keep cooking even once they're out. And then about halfway through, so about 5 minutes in, we're just going to move them around a little bit. So I'm going to put them in the oven now. And we'll set a timer for 5 minutes. Alexa, metti un timer 5 minuti.
5 minuti, a partire da ora.
Alright, so we've got Alexa with a little timer of 5 minutes, and then I'm just going to move them around a bit. And then while we're waiting, let's do this really fun de-pipping of the dates. I was looking at some kind of advice what is the best way to do it, because I did it the other day for my smoothie. I don't know if I did it very smoothly, but I watched this video. I don't have any chopsticks, but where they use chopsticks to just push it out, I'm going to try and use the equivalent with a knife. Let's see. Excuse me if I switch through accents occasionally. I lived in the UK for many years, so sometimes it just comes out of me. Right, got one pip. This is quite easy actually. So you use the back, or the front probably works, and you're just literally squeezing it out. I mean, it's not that we are necessarily desperately wanting to keep this date intact, but obviously they're quite sticky, so we want to avoid making too much of a mess. So we have 6 of these that we need removing. This recipe is really easy, but once we get everything out the oven, we're just going to be pretty much processing the nuts and then mixing in all of the ingredients together, which is great. Really excited to try this out. It's kind of a fake Nutella, if you will, which I'm not sure how my Italian husband will feel about, but let's see. Maybe I should put in like an old Nutella jar. See if I can trick him. Alright, I'm kidding. I'm very tempted, but no, I won't do that. Too much effort. Also, I don't have an old Nutella jar, which is probably my main reason I wouldn't, because otherwise I probably would. Right, so we've got 6 de-pitted lovely dates, and now it's just a waiting game. So once they're out, because there's nothing else to prepare with these other ingredients, yeah, we'll also need to, so they will bake, and then we'll need to wait for them to cool down a bit so that they're at a temperature where we can actually put them in our hand, and I'll show you the reason why once we get there. Right, so we're at the halfway mark to remove the hazelnuts. So I'm giving them a little shake, flipping them around a bit, excuse the noise of the oven, and back they go. Right. Excuse me if I didn't mention, I realize, about the temperature. So you'll want to preheat your oven to 180 degrees. And I think it's worth doing obviously while you're preparing all your ingredients, if you're a type of person to prepare your ingredients in advance, but yeah, just wait a few minutes until your oven's heated up and pop in the hazelnuts. So now 5 more minutes again, and then it should be done, and then we let them cool down for a bit. So once again, let's talk to Alexa. Alexa, metti un timer 5 minuti.
5 minuti, a partire da ora.
Also, our Alexa is from Italy, kind of, supposedly from Italy, but it was a gift from my husband's father. So she speaks in Italian. I think she also speaks in English, but I like to use her to just practice some basic Italian instructions, which maybe it helps, maybe it doesn't. But hey, I'll take what practice I can get. So yeah, let's wait. Alright guys, we're now going to take out the hazelnuts for the final time and let them cool off. I'll leave the tray over here. There they are, very beautiful, very roasted. And we can turn off the oven, which makes everything a bit quieter. So I'm going to leave the hazelnuts to cool down for a little bit. We need them to be cool enough, like I mentioned before, to put them on our hands, because we're going to be removing the skins. And essentially we'll put them either in our hands or in like a tablecloth, rub them till the skin comes off, and then we have beautiful naked hazelnuts. Shocking. But yeah, so once again, give it a few minutes. I'm not sure how long it's going to take to cool off, but I can time it now so then you guys have an idea. So then you can put a timer on and maybe your hazelnuts will be cool, maybe not. So always be careful. Yeah, so let's see. Alright, so we're back. It's been half an hour and they're definitely cool enough to touch. I also managed, while I was waiting, to smash my head on a little lamp, so it looks a bit red. That's my explanation. So, we need to clean these nuts up. Let's make them very naked. So, I think, you know what, these skins are coming off very easily. So I'm feeling like I'm just going to roll them around my hand, although maybe not. Actually, I'm going to grab a dish towel. Got one right here. So I'm going to put them inside and give them a little roll around. You can do it like a handful at a time, just to like clean them up. Oh, it's quite easy. I might use one of these previous cups just to separate the naked from the dress. Sorry, I'll stop making jokes like that now. I find silly things like that funny. Right, so let's keep going. Let's see how efficient I can be. I'm being a little bit rough with them for maximum efficiency with minimum time used. Scraping away a little extra bits with my nail. Let's see, there's pieces of skin that are more enthusiastic to remain. Let's keep going. Probably actually using larger amounts at a time also increases the friction against each other, so maybe that's also helpful. Oh, look at that. 2 naked ones just popped out perfectly. Another one over here. Let's keep going. So I'm just literally rubbing it like this. Putting it in the cloth, rub. And then to make my life easier, just going to pop out the ones that are skinless already. Great. I like the smell of hazelnut. I think it's like very often used with chocolate, so it's got a very chocolatey association, even when I eat them just by themselves. Alright, let's keep going. Making a bit of a mess here, but thank goodness for vacuum cleaners. And actually we've got a nice tile floor, which is much easier to clean, I would say, in a kitchen than anything else. I'm very pro tile and pro wood floors, and very anti-carpet floors. Excuse my chit chat while I make these raw. And yes, I'm slightly anti-carpet Maybe it's because I was brought up in South Africa, but in England they do love carpets, and I am strongly against. Yeah. Random side notes that probably no one needed to know about. Okay. Keep on rubbing. Rub it in. I admit I thought I would be faster. Let's see. Some of the skins come off really easily. Alright, finally, on the last handful of nuts. This took much longer than I thought. But anyway, I don't think all of the skins perfectly come off. I guess it depends on the hazelnut. But I've accepted it for what it is, imperfection. And we're going to now throw them into the food processor. So yeah, I think the most labor-intensive part is definitely just dealing with these nuts. But afterwards, it's going to be pretty easy. It's just going to be depending on a bit of machinery. I'm going to put this away. Full of nut skins. It's also summer here in Switzerland, so it is pretty hot out there. It's like 30 degrees. It's pretty warm, so this is going to work out. But anyway, so now what we're going to do is we're going to place the hazelnuts in here, and we are probably going to let it run for about 5 to 10 minutes until it becomes like a nut butter consistency. So let's let it run. Just going to mix it a little. It's actually quite juicy. That's good. There's a bit of moisture. I mean, it's still very dry, but like I think the oils from the nuts are being released, which is quite good. Give it a quick check. Slowly getting there. Alright, so that's been about 4 or 5 minutes now, so I can add all the rest of the ingredients and then we're done. So, let's do it. I'll move this around a little bit just so it mixes nicely. Mine is quite like a pasty form, just if you want for comparison. Alright, so we're going to start with, me spelling, 1/3 of a cup of your choice of milk. Then we need to do the coconut, but actually because both the coconut and the cacao, brand new as you can see, bought especially for this. Right, so 1 tablespoon of coconut. There we go. If you want it to be a little bit more moist, you can obviously add more coconut and more syrup. Just going to rinse this off. Then we have 2 tablespoons of maple syrup or any syrup you have. So that's 1. The good gooey stuff. And then 2. I'm quite generous with my helpings, I will be the first to admit. Alright, and I don't like to waste 1 drop. Right. So now we have our beautifully de-pipped dates we can add, 6 of them. Then we got 1/3 of a cup of cacao powder. Again, I'll rinse this quickly. So, one-third of a cup of cacao. Teaspoon vanilla extract. At the moment I've once bought a paste just to try, so I'm trying to finish that off. I don't think it's as effective as vanilla extract. Who knows, maybe it's not an equivalent, but yeah, so don't necessarily copy me. I think it's pretty close. And then 1/4 teaspoon of some salt. And then we're going to put it back on the lid, and once again set it to go. That is looking very chocolatey, which is right up my alley. Alright, a small part of the end of the video cut off, but essentially I was just mixing away. And we've got this beautiful hazelnut spread. I'll show you from close. Check that out. Alright. Look at that. Delish. Delish, delish, delish. Alright, anyway. I highly recommend this recipe. It's been really fun to make. I think the most labor intensive thing is to remove the hazelnut skins. So if you can find a way around that, maybe there's hazelnuts or salt without the skins, probably that makes the recipe even quicker and easier. But otherwise, yeah, it tastes delicious. I added a bit of extra syrup, but it's possible because I'm using rice syrup that it was less effective in its sweetness. So thank you so much for watching. I really enjoyed doing this. If you're interested in seeing more, I guess you can subscribe. I'm also on Instagram, and I'll link that down below. I've got 2 Instagrams, one which is kind of showing my everyday life, traveling, things like that. And then I've got another one which is more fitness and food based, but you see them both linked on either profile. And yeah, I hope to see you again soon, and have a great day.